Andrew, great to see you. Listen, my Patriots lost, but Turning Point USA might be the winner of the night.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry about your Patriots. They really didn't put up much of a fight for a while, did they?
Listen,
I mean,
let's just focus on Turning Point. I don't even want to go there.
Fair enough.
Was,
to be honest, I didn't even watch the second half because my phone started exploding after the people started talking about the numbers, and then there was all these people trying to contact me, congratulate us, and it was amazing. We at one point the Turning Point YouTube live stream concurrent number was at 6,170,000, and we're actually working with confirming this with YouTube, but just on that stream alone, there was multiple streams. Charlie Kirk's YouTube page was also streaming. It had about 1 million, but just on that one YouTube page, we're pretty sure that was the second largest concurrent live stream number ever recorded in YouTube history. So
what was
when
number
you add,
one?
it was I think it was some World Cup, like Brazil versus something, I don't know, but that would be number one and so far. But that's just one stream. So, but if you add up all of the broadcast partners that were also streaming on YouTube, because we gave licenses away to people so they could stream it on YouTube and their broadcast channels. So we're pretty sure we're going to be number one if you add all those up. But maybe we're just number two by a hair. We'll see, but I mean, it was a really amazing moment, a cultural moment for the country, for us, to see that somebody could compete on that stage at that time. I think nobody's ever tried it because it's such a juggernaut you're going up against. I mean, we looked at it as a David and Goliath moment, but listen, a lot of things just kind of came together for us, Sean. It was the entertainment choices made by the professional football folks and some of their promoters, mixed with some of the commentary from, I call them Conejo Malo. Some of the got 4 months to learn English or learn Spanish, that kind of thing. And I think people were just hungry for it. I got a bunch of texts last night, Sean, from like some people that were in the conservative movement, but some people that were just kind of like normal football fans. And they were just like, thank you for doing this. It just made us feel good. It felt familiar. It felt wholesome. It felt like we could celebrate it without reservation, and we needed it. A lot of people kept saying, I just feel like we really needed that last night. And so that was a really rewarding experience for us to just be able to facilitate that. And it was not easy. Let me tell you, Sean, it was really it was a hard thing to do because you've got venues that don't want to host you because they don't want to go up against the behemoth. You got artists that want to do it, but then ultimately are told they can't by their agents or their managers and things like that. So massive hat tip to Gabby Barrett, Lee Brice, Brantley Gilbert, and of course Kid Rock. They put their heart and soul into this performance. They were nervous. They wanted to do such a good job for us. They wanted to make the country proud. They wanted to make Charlie proud, and so they really took this seriously. Our production, our AV, our set design, like they all took this so seriously because they wanted to put out a great product, and I think we achieved that.
100%. I actually just to your point about the numbers, I watched it. I'm older, Andrew, so like I still actually watch television. So I watched it on TBN, and I flipped it over and I watched it, and then when I started into the second half, I was kind of scrolling a little, and I was seeing some of the numbers come in where people were talking about the concurrent number of live streams, as you mentioned. So are you guys able to get beyond? I mean, it's funny because I looked at it like I was wondering how the industry was going to look at the TV number, and then I saw the online number roll in, which was massive. So are you guys looking to like compile that number to say, hey, concurrently, yeah?
Yeah, so right now, one of the things that I was not aware of, because we're conservative activists. We're like, we're not like, we're not typically in the business of running these big sort of ad operations. And so we've actually reached out. We have a lot of friends that are connected in that world. And so we've actually reached out just this morning. We're going to work on getting kind of an independent auditor to put like an official media household eyeball number together for us, and like they can audit it, because like if we say it, like half the people are gonna be like, well, this is they're lying about. No, like when you have this many people tune in for a concert, an event like this, there's nothing to hide. We're happy. We're already like we've already won. This is all gravy for us. And so we're gonna have an outside group give us kind of a proper, what would the ad agencies be reporting to the sponsors and the advertisers. So we're gonna get an independent number. We've already reached out to YouTube to get an independent number. Chris Pavlovsky at Rumble has already said that he had 3 million people watching on his platform. And so, and again, those are concurrents. We don't. There's a couple different numbers, right? There's views, there's live concurrents, and they all kind of mean something different in the ad agency world. But essentially, the industry standard is about three people watching during the Super Bowl per television set, right? When you average it all up, it comes down to about 3. Because you got some groups that have like 50 people in a room, you got some that have 10, some that have 5, some people watching alone. So you're really taking that stream number and then you're multiplying it by 2.5 or 3. So, I mean, we really are looking at a final all-in, how many eyeballs we're tuning into this in the 40 to 50 million range. I mean, it's that big.
Every day we talk about voting. We talk about the impact of this Super Bowl program, right? And there's a group out there, Patriot Mobile. They are an amazing wireless company, okay? And the thing about Patriot Mobile is you get a great product. So if you are AT&T or Verizon or T-Mobile, whatever, you get the exact same coverage as everyone else with Patriot Mobile. Probably a lot better because there's customer service is 100% U.S. customer service. You get better coverage, 100% U.S. customer service, unlimited data, mobile hotspots, international roaming, and so much more. But here's the kicker. Patriot Mobile is more than just an amazing company and a great product for your wireless service. They're an activist corporation, but on our side. They do so much more. They're on the front lines defending freedoms way before it was ever cool. That's what's so awesome. These guys fuel Christian conservative causes. So every time you pay your bill, not only are you getting great service, but you are advancing the values of faith, family, and freedom. And the cool part about it is switching has never been easier. It literally takes minutes to do this. You get to keep your number, keep your phone, and you probably qualify for an upgrade. So take a stand today. Vote with your wallet. Go over to patriotmobile.com/Spicer, patriotmobile.com/Spicer, or give them a call if you don't want. 972-PATRIOT, 972-PATRIOT. Use promo code there, Spicer, when you talk to them on the phone. So either go to patriotmobile.com/Spicer. And here's the key. You get 1 free month of mobile service when you make that switch today. Go to patriotmobile.com/Spicer. As you're talking, I asked AI, how many people watch a Super Bowl on average? And basically the last few are about 125 million.
Yeah.
Let's just say that you guys got 20 million. Okay, let's just, I'll lowball this. Let's just say that number's 20 million. I mean this in all sincerity. Do you stop and recognize that you basically took 1/6 of the audience? I mean, I'm sitting here processing this in real time. And they're asking all these guys at the end of the Super Bowl, what did you think? What did you think? And I feel like you guys had your own Super Bowl yesterday. Like the idea that you took 1/6 of the audience and said, go watch this alternative show at the same time. It's not easy. Like, I mean that in all sincerity. Like, you're watching the Super Bowl. You don't want to miss the second half starting. You're probably eating or going to the bathroom in the middle. I mean, like, it took a lot for people to change the channel or go stream. And I say that, like, are you sitting around this morning going, wow, we took 1/6 of the audience from NBC?
Yeah, I think when all's said and done, I think it's going to be more like 1/4 of the audience.
Well, even then, I mean, just to be clear, like a 20th would have been massive.
It could have been. It could go as high as 1/3, depending on what the the numbers come back at. But yeah, I mean, listen, we kind of woke up this morning and kind of had to pinch ourselves for sure. The group chats and the phone calls I've already had this morning, it's kind of like, wow, we did a thing last night, didn't we? We really did. And you have to understand, I had a pastor back in the day who used to tell me all the time, he's like, Andrew, and he's gone to be with the Lord, God bless him, but he used to tell me, he said, Andrew, faith is spelled RISK. And that's what we did last night. We took a big risk, and those artists that decided to have the courage to join us in this took a big risk, and we had faith. And man, sometimes it works out. And last night it really did. It really worked out. And, it just felt like it definitely feels like the world there's a before that and then there's an after it. There's a before February 8th, 2026 and an after. Just kind of like there was a before 9/10/2025 when we lost Charlie and an after. And I think this is, Charlie wanted Turning Point to be a cultural phenomenon. He wanted it to play in the culture space, to play not just in the silos of conservative talk or conservative politics, but to really be a cultural behemoth. And I think last night was a turning point, pun intended.
It certainly was. So let's talk about the before and then get to the after. Like, how did this all hatch? The idea of doing a show, getting people on board, getting the artists on board, whatever budget there was. Like, how did this all start and manifest itself to what became last night?
Yeah, it kind of got memed into existence, like any good thing on our side of the of the political aisle. Jack Posobiec, got to give him a lot of credit. He kept toying and teasing people and trolling people on Twitter X, kind of saying, "Oh, we're gonna have to answer the call here." And I think what happened was there was two things, Sean. One is that Charlie was always obsessed with the halftime shows. Like, you can go back through his X feed, his Twitter feed, and you'll find tweets from 2020 or 2012, 2014 with like one like, bemoaning the fact that nobody was wearing clothes. Or like, I think the 2014 one that had one like that I found was, what is clothing optional in the halftime show? ? And it had one like, one retweet. And then, later years he would go viral just commenting. He had a really famous one where he's, I think it was like probably the most tame of all the halftime shows in recent memory. And he tweeted something about sexual anarchy. And next thing I know, Charlie's trending #1 on Twitter X. And anyway, so it was just kind of something that Charlie was always watching. He was always aware of because he understood that the eyes of the world were on this event and he wanted it to represent like our highest ideals, our best values. And he wanted it to feel like the America that he knew and that he loved and that so many of us know and love. And it just felt like it was increasingly getting further and further away from the America that we love and know. And anyway, so he was always obsessed with it. But then you had the memorial, and we had 120 million people tune in for the memorial. Those are live streams around the world. And people saw the concert, and I think they realized, maybe Turning Point can pull this off and actually do something really special. And we sort of saw the moment and the opportunity, and we realized if it's not us who's going to do it, who else is going to do this? And, so we kind of just threw our, hat in the ring and said, here we are, and took a risk and put it out on the table. And like I said, I think it was a confluence of a lot of different elements, a perfect storm. And it paid off in a really huge way, in a bigger way than we could have anticipated, to be honest.
So, I mean, Bad Bunny, I was tweeting out no bunnies and like having fun. Like, I think he was very polarizing, no question about it. Do you guys look at this as a one-time moment, which is the NFL made a choice to go with someone as polarizing as Bad Bunny, therefore we counter-programmed? Or is this, hey, we should keep going forward no matter who the entertainer is?
Yeah, we made the decision last night. Actually, I was on with Kilmeade and we announced it there, and we already committed to doing the All-American Halftime Show 2027. So we will be back. We're going to do it again. I think there's multiple reasons. There's no way to keep the pressure on like keeping the pressure on. So we're going to keep the pressure on. And I think, listen, whatever product they put out there, I think there is, this has forever changed the landscape of the halftime show. And, we basically put this together in 2 months. We were up against massive like licensing issues with the songs. Not that we couldn't work those out. You just typically have more time for something like this to work those out.
What does that mean, though? I don't get that. Like, I don't, because like, if I'm Kid Rock and I sing, it's my song, or like, how is just there's just
no,
lawyers?
It's not that easy because the masters are owned by whatever record label, and then it was co-written by this person, and everybody has to sign off for a broadcast right like this. So it's each song has 1,000 different problems to like fix each, so and you got to go through all these legal, and then each song has, the song might have written, like Ba Wada Ba was written in 1998 or 1999 or something. They didn't even really have streaming back then. And so it's got all these archaic, streaming rights that were added later that treat Twitter X differently than, YouTube or Rumble. So it's like each song was its own problem to fix, to solve. And so, and listen, those things are very solvable over the long term, but in the short term, it was a challenge, and frankly, we had to learn how to do it as well. So we had some learnings on that side, but ultimately, like it came off really well. But it was a challenge, and I will tell you, but if you give us a year to do this, and you wouldn't believe, there was other artists that wanted to be a part of this, but they were, on tour in some other country, or they were, they would have had to do something somewhat different, or, so it was just like, it's a problem that you can solve with time. But, so we know that if we have a year to do this, regardless of what the professional football wants to do, I think there's going to be an opportunity for us to do something that's worthwhile and that people are going to want to support. But ultimately, we want the institutions that are tasked with doing these things, that own these institutions in all different spheres of this country, to step up and start, remembering that there's a whole big swath of the country that they've completely forgotten about and that they don't care about and they take for granted, and they just think that we're going to keep showing up. And they're allowed to do that until we don't. So they are allowed to make that decision until they realize that there's a price to pay for it. And there was no agenda in our All-American Halftime Show. You saw it. It was just great music, singing about love, singing about girls, singing about drinking too much, singing about Jesus, singing about all those kinds of themes that are just human themes. There was no political theme. It was, and Kid Rock was the one who came to us and said, "Hey, I want to add this new verse to Till You Can't. I felt like the Lord gave me this verse for this song," and he cleared it with the songwriters, and they blessed him to do that. And so he had this faith message, but like it was all very organic, and it wove in seamlessly to the whole compilation, the whole mosaic of what the concert ended up being. And it was just great music. That was it. We just wanted a bunch of music for people that love the country. It's America 250. We should be doing something more patriotic as opposed to sort of like, globalist invasion concert or whatever. So let's lift up the people that make this country amazing and that love this country, that fought and died for this country. And that was it. It was just love the country. Don't disrespect the country. It doesn't have to be overt. It doesn't have to be in your face, but just something that honors all of those things and the values we hold dear. And I think we did it.
Oh, absolutely. As I said, Lee Brice killed it. I love Gabby Barrett. I thought she sang her big hit, and it was fantastic. And then obviously Kid Rock.
Yeah.
Let me just take this back though. If I'm NBC, or I don't know who has the rights next year, but the NFL even, as I'm watching the game yesterday, it was maybe
ABC, Disney, ABC, ESPN has it.
Okay. So yesterday, I can't compare because I really hadn't paid attention in the past, but I thought, from my perspective, that NBC was a little worried because every time that they would go to commercial or something, they'd say, "Stay tuned for the halftime too. Stay tuned for that." They knew that there was going to be an issue. Do you guys think that you're going to get any kind of outreach from, ABC or the NFL to say, "Hey, can we work together because you stole, who cares? Call it a sixth, call it a fourth, call it a third of our audience." That's big money from ad revenue standpoint. Do you think, or have you gotten any outreach from anybody pro or con on this?
We have not heard from the commish or any of his representatives, but the offer is out there. If he would like to meet, we will meet with them. We can help him with this problem. If he wants to meet, we would be happy to talk.
What would you guys want? So he comes to you and says, "Hey guys, I listen, I lead the NFL. I got a big problem because you guys stole a big chunk of my audience, and the ad rights are massive for us. What can I do? What does that negotiation look like? Hey, we want a certain singer. Like what is it that you would want?"
Well, I've learned from a certain gentleman named Donald Trump not to show my cards too early. But it's speaking of that analogy, it's like he said, "You got no cards." Well, I mean, I think we showed last night we got some cards to play, and so it would be a conversation. It would be a conversation, and it would be interesting to see their perspective on it. But we could either come in and help guide things in a better direction, or maybe that's not welcome, and that's their choice too, and we'll just keep doing what we do. And I think if you give us a year's momentum off of what was achieved last night, this starts to become an institution that people are expecting, that are planning on, that becomes a rallying cry for half or more than half of the country. And so that's a lot of cards to play. And I think, again, we kind of fell into this, through memeing and, have maybe being dumb enough to even try it. But now we're in a position to I think build on it and build on the success and build momentum. And, if they want to talk and see if there's a way we can work together, then we're happy to do that. But we'd have to see in what spirit they're approaching us first.
What about advertisers, Andrew? Because I feel like if I'm selling anything, who cares? I look at the size of the audience that you guys got. I know that you're politically active and engaged, and these people will follow because they clearly did. What kind of response are you getting, or incoming are you getting from people who might want to be part of this?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I think, one, it's interesting because I think we have a particular ailment in the conservative movement that the second there's any sort of institutional brands or big money, big advertisers that come into a space, you instantly think, oh, you're grifting or whatever. I look at it completely differently here, because I think, to your point, you look at the eyeballs that we were able to draw last night, and listen, if you're Cabela's, if you're Chevy truck, it's like, come on in, boys, the water's fine. And once you do that, you actually send an even bigger message, right? You can erode the ad revenue for people that are trying to crap on the country, and that's one win. But when you actually say, hey, we're just lifting up great all-American music for all-American audience that loves this country, and there's no agenda. You saw what we did. We're not trying to stuff some candidate down your throat. We're not making it like that. It's just good music. It's something the whole family can get behind. Come join us. Help underwrite this thing so we can make it bigger and better. I think that's another form of win in this, right? So I think in the future years we're going to definitely be looking at that, and we want to welcome those people. I've already gotten calls from people that do this for a living, that sell this kind of ad space and do these kind of media buys, and I think there's going to be a massive appetite from some brands that are like big time brands that come into this space and be a part of it and advertise in it, and I think that's great.
It'd be a huge win. You mentioned you guys fell into this. The memorial service was epic. I mean, I've never seen it. I don't know that I'll ever see anything again in my lifetime, celebrating Charlie's work and what he has accomplished.
Yeah.
And then you guys did this. Is your mind right now going, hey, what else can we do? Is there a 4th of July celebration? I mean, like, that's how I am. I see something go and I go, okay, what else? Like, are you already, or is it just, hey, I'm digesting last night, but I got to believe that if you guys stumbled into this with 2 months and had this kind of result, that there's got to be wheels turning already saying, well, wait, we could also do something like this, or we've got, like, where's that thought process?
Well, we've already been planning for 250, so we've already got stuff in the works there. It may not be on this scale, it's a little bit. There's something special about the big night and the big game. I mean, there's just so many eyeballs on that night, so it's a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, we're already planning, and we're in talks with some of the folks on the 250 committees, and so all that stuff's kind of already going. But yeah, I mean, listen, I think we're digesting. Again, Sean, that was a bigger result than we anticipated. and which is great. I knew it was going to be big. You could just feel the energy, and you can feel when things cut through the silos, right? When you can feel when you're just talking to like a conservative world, and then you can feel when you cut through and it becomes zeitgeist stuff, right? And I knew that had happened with this. It was, when you got the Guardian trying to write hit pieces afterwards, trying to poo-poo it as like, that's a good sign, because that means they know that they've got something that they have to fight, and that is challenging their power structure. So I knew it was going to be big, but it was the fact that, like, if you combine all our streams, there's a really good argument to be made that this is the #1 live stream in YouTube history. That's big, that's like, that's stratospheric stuff. So I'm absorbing, but yeah, we're always open for new ideas. And if it's the right confluence of elements and variables that come together, we would probably dive in, but we're celebrating a little bit today.
You deserve to. It was extremely well done, well executed, and I think people responded because of that. I enjoyed it. I mean, just as a watcher, I enjoyed it. Production wise, I think it was executed amazingly. I mean, I think the lineup was good, the production was good, the streaming options, and like I said, it was both out there I watched it on TBN. I know Real America's Voice and OAN. So you guys, hats off to you guys and what you did. Andrew, I'm excited about what's next. But hopefully you get to take a victory lap today. And as I said, my Patriots might have lost, but the real winner was Turning Point USA. So congrats on everything. I really appreciate you being with us.
Thanks,
today.
Sean. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the support.
Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.